Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another Toolbox Tuesday. Today, I know we touched on it payroll last month, but today we have ADP who is going to be presenting to us to give a high-level intro covering payroll, hence Payroll 2.0. We have Rachel and Brandon from ADP here, so whenever you guys are ready. And Justin, if you wanted to say anything too, you're more than welcome to hop in as well.
Yeah, I'll pop in real quick here. As you guys know, this is a product that we've been, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. That what's been a really important part of we've taken a lot of time, I guess, in selecting the right vendor and the right partner here, and we're thrilled to be working with ADP and especially with Rachel and Brandon here, who have been awesome to work with and transition. So we know we're coming in a time of year where we've got a lot of opportunities going on. And so we're going to be doing quite a few of these sessions today and then another one later on here in November, just to make sure you got all the understanding, all the deep, opportunities, I guess, to dive deeper into the product and the different offerings, because there's just so much to learn and so much to offer here. So excited for this. We're learning right along with you as we go, but our team's getting stronger and stronger every day. Matter of fact, we're going to be learning how to do all the onboarding here real soon as well. So we're excited, and I will hand it over to Brandon and Rachel now.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Justin. And good to see everybody. We're super excited, guys, for this partnership. Justin nailed it on the head. I know we're going to crawl before we walk, before we run. So I want to keep this super workshop-like. So if you guys have questions, take yourselves off mute, throw it in the chat. I think Cam's going to help me monitor that. Brandon, if you could as well. And we're going to give you guys a high-level look of what the partnership with PayCompass and ADP is going to look like, and give you enough information for you guys to be dangerous out in the field to try to cultivate as many leads as you guys possibly can. So we'll leave about 15, 20 minutes questions at the end, but if something is popping up based on what I say or something on the slide, feel free to jump in at any time. So we'll go ahead and get started. So as far as the agenda for today, we're going to do a quick and fast overview of the team here at ADP that we're going to be working with corporate at PayCompass. We're going to do a high-level overview of some of the breadth of services ADP can offer to their clients. We're going to give you guys some talk tracks you guys can use in the field, and then kind of an open forum of anything that you guys are seeing in the field and want to learn more about. Cool? All right, let's rock. So first and foremost, for your team, there we go. I know my camera is not on. I just had it on before. Cam was laughing because I had paint on the wall. I'm trying to get my house painted, so I figured I would turn my camera off. But my name is Rachel. I'm a sales executive here at ADP. I've been with ADP for just about 6 years. And we've also got Brandon on the call, who's going to be working with you guys as well. He's actually the #1 rep in the entire country for this space. So really, really cool. We're going to be supporting Justin and the PayCompass team during the whole transition of payroll with PayCompass. So that's a little bit about us. But as far as ADP goes, you guys, I'm sure when you think about ADP, the first thing that comes to mind is payroll. Right? And that's really the bulk and the engine of what ADP does. Fun fact, when you guys get out in the field, payroll is only 18% of what we do. And we find that what earns us and wins us the most business is actually outside of all the things of just payroll. But before we go into all the different tools and resources and levers you guys can pull to cultivate more business, I want to give you guys kind of an overview of what payroll processing means and give you a couple terms that you guys can use out in the field that should, beat the competition and different competition that's out there when it comes to payroll. So obviously, ADP, we do payroll and tax filing. So what that means is we'll do all of the clients' quarterly filings, W-2s, and any annual filings at the end of the year. What's nice with this wholesale platform that we're doing with PayCompass, it will be 100% white labeled. So all of your clients will see PayCompass, not ADP, but you guys can feel confident when you're selling your payroll platform that you have the #1 payroll company out there supporting your clients. Okay, so we have multiple different pay options. So you guys can offer direct deposit, live checks, Wisely pay cards. So if you're running into any restaurants or any maybe construction companies that don't necessarily have bank accounts for some of their employees, we also have the option to pay through Wisely pay card. And obviously, like I said, direct deposit and checks. We provide new hire reporting. So I know a lot of you guys are in brand new states, right? In all different states. There's all different compliance and legal stuff you have to go through when bringing on new employees. We're going to handle that all for the clients. And the Pay Compass team is going to help those clients when onboarding those employees stay in compliance. This is a big one, is employee access. This is a really, really competitive tool that we use. It's actually the same app that we use here at ADP as an employee. So when you're talking to prospects out there that are using either competitors or doing payrolls in-house, a very common theme is the admin or whomever's running payroll is constantly bogged down by changes of direct deposit, changes of address, changes of any of those minuscule tasks on the back end. We allow employee access. So every single employee will have an app that they can log into to change and view their check stubs, to change their address, change their direct deposit. We'll get into it here in a little bit, but we offer obviously health insurance and retirement services as well. If they decide to integrate that through Pay Compass, they also will be able to join on that app and change their contributions to their 401k, check their health insurance tab, enroll in benefits, all of those things all through the ADP app. Digital employee onboarding, that's an option as well. So if you're working with a client that's in an industry that's seeing a lot of turnover or maybe an extreme growth, again, one of the most cumbersome tasks for an admin is to manually log in and add every single employee that gets added or termed, right? We can work with Pay Compass headquarters directly, where that client can still have access to onboard those client or employees electronically by sending each of those employees a survey link, and they'll plug in their address, their phone number, date of birth, and they'll onboard themselves into the platform. Each client of yours, even though Pay Compass will be running the payroll, they'll still have access to view all of their reports in the platform. So again, if a client of yours reaches out to you and says, hey, I need my quarterly filings, we don't have to bog down Pay Compass headquarters and payroll department. We can teach all of those clients how to actually log into their own system and see those payroll reports as well. Okay, and then we'll obviously integrate to any general ledger interface, QuickBooks, online, desktop. We'll integrate to that so we can make that super seamless for all of your clients. Okay, so when you're talking to your clients and your prospects, there's really two platforms. Everything in black is just the payroll offering. Okay, everything in red is the payroll and HR offering. You're going to be able to present both to all of your clients, depending on what they choose. Obviously, that's how Pay Compass headquarters will then onboard them. Okay, so everything in black is just the payroll option. Payroll and HR is everything in black and in red. Okay, so if you're working with restaurants, industries, especially honestly over 5 employees, most times they're going to need some of the services that are in red. And that's kind of some of the stuff that differentiates us from the competition, which we'll get into more here very shortly. So HR help desk, you guys, this is for anybody that has HR related questions. Maybe they have an employee that needs to go on FMLA. Maybe it's a PTO question. Maybe they have to terminate an employee. Instead of relying on Google or paying an employment lawyer $3,000 to ask a question, right? They'll have access to this HR help desk that have SHRM certified professionals of over 30 years that they can reach out to and get guidance when it comes to HR. Okay, so they're gonna have that number directly through their portal. Again, Pay Compass is gonna be running their payroll, but they'll still have these tools at their fingertips that they can utilize. Employee handbook, right? So this, honestly, depending on the employment lawyer, can cost $2,000, $3,000 to get made, especially if you've got a client that's in multiple states. We'll actually provide the client an employee handbook wizard, so they can actually decide, click on, there's templates on there, over 450 different policies that pertain to them. So they can click on those, edit those policies, all the legal jargon's on there, you guys, right? So they're protected, and they can electronically send this to all of their employees to electronically acknowledge. A stat that we use on the payroll side is 80% of state unemployment claims are negated simply by having an employee handbook, right? People can file for unemployment on an app on their phone nowadays. So it's really important to have an employee handbook. I think that's a big differentiator for you guys as you're talking to clients out there. Especially now when we're constantly trying to find, attract the right employees. We'll create a job description wizard so they can make sure they're in compliance when it comes to their job description. We'll give them all the HR forms and resources state specific, whether that's from onboarding or terminating an employee or even new hire paperwork. And we have a compliance database that they can go through and search different compliance questions they may have. Maybe it's about PTO. Maybe it's about a new policy that comes across the board. They're going to have a compliance database that they can rely on. So they're not working through Google and God forbid, Department of Labor walks in their door and they get a big fine. So those are the resources we provide just on the payroll access side. I know I threw a lot at you guys and was talking a lot there. I think you guys are following, but are there any questions so far on this slide before I pass it over to Brandon? Okay.
Rachel, I had one quick question on the employee handbook. Is that updated as laws change, as laws are updated? So it's kind of a living document?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Great question, Justin. I think that's another big differentiator. When Prop 206 came out, gosh, I don't remember, probably 4 years ago here in Arizona, that's a PTO law. It was a massive, massive change. And our employee handbook was updated within the next day. So it's a really, really fast turnaround for that. Great question.
Awesome.
Cool. Let me know if anything else pops up. But what I do want to do is actually show you some of the other tools outside of just payroll. There we go. Remember the stat I talked to you guys about is payroll is only 18% of what we do here at ADP. All the other ancillary services that we're going to get into now really separate us from every other payroll vendor out there. And that's what's going to separate PayCompass from every other payroll vendor out there, is the fact that you guys have so many different levers that you agents can pull to ultimately win the business. I'm in sales too. We all want to earn a big commission check. And these are all things that can help us bring clients over to PayCompass. So with that said, I'm going to actually pass it over to the best in the business. Brandon, do you want to walk them through some of these beyond payroll service offerings and maybe how you use them out in the field to win some business?
Yeah, so with ADP beyond just payroll, some of the other products that you're able to now provide your clients using ADP is kind of like a backbone would be retirement services. So 3 different options there with having a SEP IRA, a simple IRA, or a 401k. So that's a great tool for hiring, retaining, and really just a great tax benefit for business owners if they do have a high tax liability. And that's something that's integrated with the payroll. So every time that they process payroll, those deductions would come out of the employee's checks and get sent to the 401k directly when it's with ADP. So the ease of use, having the retirement plan attached to the payroll with ADP is very seamless. Time and attendance, if the employer has ADP's timekeeping system, when the employees clock in and clock out, whether it be on the software or a physical clock, those hours will automatically be put into the payroll each and every pay period, so that they just have to approve the timesheets are correct before going to submit the payroll. So again, that seamless integration with having the timekeeping makes their lives a lot easier. And then lastly, and this is my favorite product, is the pay-by-pay workers' comp. So with ADP, what we do is we integrate workers' comp with payroll. In ADP, we work with 13 different carriers to try to find the clients the lowest cost option for the workers' comp. But my favorite feature with this is that with workers' comp, it has everything to do with the payroll numbers. And when we tie it into the payroll, every pay period that they process, we're sending that payroll data directly to the carrier so that they know exactly how much to bill the client in real time, so that at the end of the year, they're not getting hit with a surprise bill saying that they underestimated at the beginning of the year or overestimated. It's going to be a $0 audit because it's all been tied in throughout their time with ADP. So with the workers' comp, that's when we'd want to see if we can either save them on their current policy or see if we could potentially integrate their existing policy so that it makes it a little easier when it comes time for that audit.
Perfect. Brandon, do you mind if I jump in real quick just to give a quick add to what you said? A couple things, guys, and this is why I was so excited for this presentation, because I know I'm talking to salespeople, which is my world. I want to give you guys just a couple points going off of what Brandon said that can really, really help you guys when it comes to at least setting the appointment. Gaining access is the hardest part of any sales job. After that, I feel like our product and PayCompass's product will sell itself. And from what Justin said, you guys are very good at your jobs as well. So I feel confident if we can help you gain access, you guys will close the business. One thing on the retirement piece, something you guys can leverage, it is a compliant, like mandatory compliance offering that they have to benchmark their 401k. It's a fiduciary responsibility every single year. So if you find somebody with a 401k that says they're happy with their provider, they don't want to switch, you can offer a benchmark plan where we'll come in, we'll grab the documents, PayCompass team will do that for us, and we'll compare their plan to ours. And if their plan's better, they'll keep them. If not, a lot of times we can find money depending on how many assets are in the plan. Another piece is a big objection you guys are going to hear is, hey, no, I really like my financial advisor. On ADP's retirement plans, we can keep their financial advisor on that plan. Okay, so if they have a really cool financial advisor they're close with, we can work with them directly and they'll just use ADP software. For time and attendance, you guys, a lot of times I've heard we work with restaurants and different industries that might have a point of sale system where they clock in and clock out of. We integrate. If you run into those scenarios, ask PayCompass. PayCompass, you can work with us directly, Justin, Rob, Kim, whole team. And we integrate with about 85% of those point of sale companies, for example, Toast. And so that will make the whole process super seamless to win the business as well. And then when it comes to workers' comp, Brandon nailed it. We'll shop them out with our top A-rated carriers. And just so you guys know, we can broker those policies over depending on those carriers. So a lot of times nothing will change on their policy if we can't save them money. And it's basically a 2-signature page. We'll broker those over, and then they have a pay-by-pay system set up pretty much almost the next pay period. So those are just something. Go ahead.
So I'd like to pop in there real quick. I want to make sure everybody caught that, and for those who are maybe listening later, that this breezed by you there. But that's one of the things I forgot to mention on our last call about this was the point of sale integrations like Toast, for example. We all have, we can't integrate with people on the credit card processing side they use Toast. We can't work with them. But this right here is an opportunity to work with these merchants. You have plenty of merchants out there that maybe like working with you, and you're just waiting for your opportunity for Toast to screw up, for Toast to raise the rates like they just did, for Toast to do something maybe that you get to earn that business on the credit card processing side maybe. This is a great opportunity to still get a sale out of the deal, still work with the customer, and still be there and serve that customer and just kind of be around when the timing is right. So I think it's a great thing that I don't want to breeze over that, because in our world, Toast is kind of a 4-letter word. People get pissed off when they hear it because we can't work with them, but this is an opportunity to still work with those merchants. And I think it's a really big thing for us to remember, especially those that are, working in the restaurant space so much.
Yeah, I think that I'm glad you added on that. And that's great to know, by the way, on the pay increases. I think we'll work back and forth. We get trigger events with competitors all the time, Justin. So if we hear certain things like that, we'll share them with you guys. You can share them with your team as well. Because I think that's a great trigger event as well.
I have a question. How does our payroll services compare with Toast payroll services? Yeah.
Obviously, to give you an idea, last week I took 3 companies from Toast because of their reporting. The reporting a lot of times is very cumbersome and not very customizable. I think that's been one of our biggest triggers, is simply on reporting. Just kind of more background than you guys need to know, but we work directly with accountants as well. And a lot of times if we can work with those types of COIs, they really struggle with the reporting of Toast and getting what they need to get. And I think that's something that separates us. as well as Toast doesn't offer all of those HR services that we provided before, or those integrations with all of these services that are on this screen as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Rachel,
great
we also
question.
have a chat. Someone had asked, does it interface with Aloha?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, great question. That was actually going to be my second one, is Aloha. And if you run into different POS systems like that, ping, PayCompass, Justin, come to us. I can work. We have what's called the marketplace. Justin and team, I'll show you guys how to find that on your own as well. And we can pretty much search any app that you guys have ever heard of and see if we have integrations to them. Most times we do.
Yeah, I'll say to that, I mean, from, me being in this business for 15 years or so, I will say that, if you are a point of sale provider, you're creating a software and you're looking to create an integration with a payroll company, 99% of the time, your first thought's going to be ADP. That's where you're going with it. They make it simple. They make it easy. So any of your, solid point of sale systems that have been out there for any length of time, you're likely going to see that they have a direct integration right there with ADP, and therefore with our payroll product.
Yeah, you nail it. And if you guys, other spaces, other states, you're like, Rachel, I've ran into this company X amount of times, you guys don't integrate, give me that feedback. I'll work directly with our apps team and see if there's something we can do. So we're very flexible with that. Cool. All right, Brandon, sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I know you got one more slide that I think is going to catch a lot of people's attention. I've heard a lot of hype around wanting to learn more about some of these tax credits. So Brandon, I'll pass this over to you as well.
Thanks, Rach. So yeah, lately, what we've been getting a lot of traction with ADP is the ERTC. So the ERTC is something that ADP is able to do for our clients, and we're able to amend past returns if the client has been with us during that time period. But essentially what we do is we have the client fill out a few pieces of information, whether or not they've lost revenue, if they've increased wages, and we basically work with our tax team and the IRS to see if the client would qualify for employee retention tax credits. And then we're acting as the liable party to make sure that we're getting the tax credits for that client. So our tax team's doing everything on the back end once the client answers a few questions, and then we're implementing the credits for them. R&D, so research and development. If a client's doing anything that's unique in their industry that would potentially qualify for research and development, again, our tax team is working with the IRS to see how much in credits we can get for that client. And then we're working with the CPA to see if we can amend past quarters to then apply this credit for them. And then lastly, the hiring credits, whether it be WOTC or targeted job tax credits. These are the things that ADP, we do an evaluation with the client if they are employing any type of employee that may be a felon or may come from a diverse market. We're doing that evaluation with the client and again, applying those credits for them. So we're taking a bulk of the work on our end to see if these clients do apply. And then we're then using everything and all the resources that we have on our end to see if we can get them essentially a tax credit.
Any questions on this slide so far? Okay, cool. These are big ones, guys. What we can do, and Justin, you have my commitment for that. I did just get news that this account setup is like right there. Probably by the end of this call, we'll be good to go. What we're going to do, and I'm going to talk about it on the slide, I'm going to get you guys, we call it ADP collateral. So it'll give you guys industry, basically it'll give you sell sheets that'll say PayCompass at the top. But what's really nice is it'll give you what industries work best for these tax credits and a couple questions you can ask them to see if they're fits. And then we can see and work with our tax team to see if we can get them credits on that. Okay, so I'll get those to you guys ASAP as well.
Rachel, is actually like 14 minutes before this call, I got the emails with all the logins. So it looks like everything's ready to rock.
I love it. Okay. I was hoping you would. They told me they would. That's why I said after this call, I was trying to under promise, over deliver, but there we go.
There you go. We're good to go.
Cool. Love it. So something you guys need to know as far as having ADP back the services, I kind of wanted to walk through PayCompass's competitive advantage. So when we talk about, number one, I can tell you guys and give you guys information when you're, competing against a Paychex or Gusto or Paylocity. But I also want you guys to feel really confident when you're working, competing against, let's say, someone else that uses an accountant or some other service model where they completely outsource their payroll, right? And those models, feel confident because those models normally only offer payroll, tax filing, and direct deposit. Okay? Most firms are not able to offer all of these other services that we just talked about, right? And this is the biggest competitive advantage that PayCompass is going to have moving forward, right? Payroll's the engine to what we do, payroll, tax filing, direct deposit. You guys have all these other levers that you guys can now pull to win the business. I promise you right now, most companies can't offer these types of things. So you guys can feel confident when you are having conversations that we can offer just about anything they need. And a lot of times we can cut costs, right? Because they're probably paying someone for HR, right? They may be paying someone too much for their workers' comp or their retirement. They may be paying an employment lawyer every single year to update their employee handbook, right? So we can find different cost savings as well by simply bundling all of these services. Okay. So as far as lead flow detail, Justin, I wanted to put this in here and maybe you can speak more on it if you think it's important, but I did want to kind of clarify how this is going to work. So you agents, you're going to engage the prospects. Again, I'm going to do my best personally to give Justin and team as many resources as I give my sales team. Truly, we're going to work really hard to make sure we white label all the information that you guys need to be dangerous out in the field and gain access with as many payroll prospects as possible. But just as far as the lead flow detail, you guys are going to engage the prospect and you're going to work directly with PayCompass headquarters and their payroll department. Okay, that payroll department is going to work on onboarding that client to ADP wholesale. Okay, there might be one-off scenarios Justin and I can work on where, Brandon and myself actually engaged with the client directly. Those are going to be one-offs. There may be scenarios like that, but I want you guys to engage prospects and go directly through PayCompass because, again, it's going to be a white-labeled service. They're not going to really know that ADP is working directly with them. It still might be a very big competitive advantage because they know tax liability is off their shoulders, but it's going to be all through PayCompass. Justin, any ads on this?
Yeah, I'll touch on that a little bit. I think that's an important concept to make sure we discuss is that, it's easy to get on these calls and hear, Brandon and Rachel and their expertise and look at that as like, man, I should just pick up the phone and call them. But as the way this arrangement is created and the way this prospect or this partnership is created and formed is that it's PayCompass that is doing, the handling, the flow of the leads, of the entering of the data, of the creation of the new accounts, all that sort of stuff. That's how we're able to get the pricing and the service here in the right way. Now, as you all know, I talk about crawl, walk, run all the time, and that's where we're at in this as we sit here today. Our payroll department is 4 or 5 of us here that are all going to come together and figure this out as we crawl together. And then we're going to be, identifying that right person to bring on board, which we're already starting to have those conversations with individuals. A person is going to come on board that will own that product and own that entire process completely. So, it makes us all stronger when you bring questions or you bring needs to us, because once you bring those questions and needs to us, and then we get the correct answers, which a lot of them we're going to know immediately. But if we don't know those answers, we go get those answers. Then now we're stronger. So the next time somebody asks that next question, we're able to say, hey, yeah, we've got that down. Here's what it is. So think of this, this is a PayCompass product. You're going to work directly through PayCompass on this, and then just knowing that, I definitely wouldn't hide behind, I wouldn't hide the fact, I guess I would say, that ADP is there. I think that is a huge selling benefit, but it is a PayCompass product powered by ADP. So all questions, all needs, all applications, all that is going to flow through us, which is part of this kind of a little bit of a slow rollout, is making sure that we had all that stuff in place, to make sure that we're ready to go. And we are now. to do that correctly. So just, this is I think an important clarification, is that, this will flow through us and we will be ramping up on the payroll side internally very soon.
Love it. Yeah, thanks, Justin. Yeah, I think you nail it. And guys, be very open with all our partnerships. We're very open, vice versa, with feedback and ideas to make it better. When you guys win, we win as well. So if you guys are seeing as we progress things you want to see more of, or different support that we can give and provide, we'll work with Justin and get that to you guys. But thanks, Justin. I appreciate you jumping in there as well. So we'll go to the next slide here. I think this is important. As you guys know, with any sales job, half the battle is setting the right expectations with clients. And I want to make sure that we're all on the same page as far as turnaround time for employee counts in different businesses. Say a company says they're ready to rock. We call it a hot start in our business, right? We can't guarantee that we'll have their payroll account set up by next day. So this is a good threshold to understand, assuming we get all of the information we need to, or Pay Compass does, from their team. This is kind of your idea as far as like a turnaround date, to set expectations as far as what paycheck we're going to be taking over. Again, this is probably more Pay Compass payroll side, but understand that if you've got a current company that has ran payroll for the current year, we're going to need what we call balances on our end. And we're going to have to grab all of their tax information, employee information. Reason we do that is we get to take full tax liability for them for the entire year and ensure they only get one W-2 at the end of the year versus two. So for example, if they have paychecks, if we don't grab these balances, they're going to get two W-2s at the end of the year, right? And we don't want that. We're going to want to get them only one W-2. So this is the information that we're going to need for that. Any questions on turnaround time, you guys, as far as expectation setting or anything here? Justin, I'll send this over to you. I promised you I would just throw it in here as well. Okay, cool. So talk tracks, you guys. Again, I understand you guys are great salespeople, so I hope this doesn't feel like I'm spoon feeding you guys too much. But just know, like this time of year, this is the same talk tracks we're using in our everyday conversations. Hey, now that we're entering Q4, 80% of business owners are starting to evaluate their vendors for the new year. At Pay Compass, we're able to help you completely offload your payroll duties so you can focus on other activities that help grow your business. Do you have some time on blank or blank to show you how? Right, so you guys can lean in on the fact that they are completely outsourcing their payroll and taking that off of their plate so they can focus on other revenue generating activities, okay? One of the biggest objection you guys are probably gonna see within this field is, hey, we already have payroll taken care of, no thanks, right? This is how I would overcome that objection. Hey, that's great to hear. When was the last time you evaluated your payroll vendor? I hear that commonly, but after showing business owners how much time I can put back in their hands by offloading their payroll to Pay Compass, many business owners consider a completely outsourced model. Do you have a few minutes next week so I can show you what that looks like? Right? That's what I think the biggest trigger that you guys can lean on. Obviously, you still have the beyond payroll options that you guys can use as well, whether it comes from their workers' comp renewal, their retirement services, their health insurance, all of those things you guys can use as well. But this is a great tool that you guys can use to gain access. Okay. So as far as marketing support, now that we've got the company all set up, Justin, thanks for being patient on that. We're going to work on white labeling all of these things to the left. We're going to get you some marketing brochure PDFs through a program called Counting Works. Justin will work with you and Rob and the team on that. We'll even have marketing videos that'll have Pay Compass on there to explain some of the products you guys can send via email. And we'll have different customized profiles through TaxBuzz. Basically, people can search for Pay Compass or payroll, and we'll make sure Pay Compass jumps up at the top of their list. We'll make sure you guys go through some Google optimization for that as well. Okay, so we'll get you guys some extra support. I know we threw a lot at you, and we tried to keep it high level, but I wanted to give some time. It looks like we're about 30, 40 minutes in. Are there any questions or comments or feedback that you guys have so far?
Rachel, one thing I'd like to jump in here real quick is just some advice and thoughts, and obviously, I'm gonna share some secrets of things that it's gonna be recorded, but it's fine, it's out there. you know, I sold payroll quite a bit back in the day when I was at Heartland, and we had nowhere near the breadth of products that ADP has, not even close. But there was a couple of things that helped me be really successful in selling payroll, and one of them was, and I think it's, you know, some of you take a similar approach with credit card processing, is just, you know, when somebody does say, hey, I'm all happy, I'm good with my provider. One of the questions I love to ask that always kept the conversation going was just, well, that's awesome to hear, great, but, you know, I'm sure they're not perfect. If there's one thing they can improve, what is that? Or one thing you think they're missing, what is that? And it would always just, there'd be something that would happen. Now, sometimes, you know, when I was, you know, when you're selling an inferior payroll product or something that doesn't have all the bells and whistles, sometimes that can take you down a path you didn't want to go down. But when you're with somebody that has this wide array of products, you know, like ADP has, that really can open up something that you can solve. The chances are whatever it is that they're not delivering on or they're missing on is something that you know, that you can solve for them. That was always a great one. And then the other one, if they said something like, hey, I'm using a local accountant, or I'm using, you know, I'm doing it myself, is I would just really focus on that employee handbook.
Yes.
I think that is something that is really not talked about enough. And you know, many companies are guilty of, you know, maybe they do it one time and then they don't do it again for many years, or they never do it. You know, did you realize, I mean, you can literally be fined for these things. You can literally get somebody who leaves, and, you know, you fire them, then they sue you, and you say, well, you know, they violated our company policy, and they're like, well, where's your handbook about that? Where are these things? What is the stuff you're talking about? You don't even have the proper documentation in place. For a really small cost per month, you can ensure that stuff's all taken care of, and we take care of it for you along with all your payroll. So, you know, it's a little bit of a, you know, setting some fear in them, definitely, but it's real. This is not like pie in the sky and this never happens to anybody. This happens to people all the time, especially when you start talking to business owners. So those are just a couple things I just wanted to share real quick from my past that were really helpful in opening up the conversation, continuing the conversation with people. You know, when they initially said, no, I'm good, or I'm working with somebody else, or I do it in-house. You know, there's a lot of opportunity to continue that conversation.
Love it. Yeah, great ad, Justin. The employee handbook is honestly one of the number one things we sell off of.
Yeah.
Remember too, we'll send you some information state by state, guys. There's different requirements. For Arizona, workers' comp is required for anyone with W-2 employees. California, Colorado, I think Florida as well, have state mandates around retirement services. Right. So those are all things that you can talk about as well. And the state plans aren't great at all. So those are things that we can use as well, as far as gaining accesses and getting in the door. Any other questions for us while we're here? I know we went a little bit short, Justin. That's my fault.
No, this is great. This is great. I'm sure there'll be some questions here.
Okay.
Hey, so coming from having no prior payroll selling experience, how would this fit in with somebody who's using, say, QuickBooks currently to do, you know, overall accounting and payroll? And it also, I guess, follow up on that is there a typical, you know, revenue range that, you know, is there any business that you would say is like too small for ADP, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, really, really great question. The answer is no. And we actually focus specifically, and at least in Brandon and I's division, on what's called small business, the Department of Small Business. So 1 to 49 employees, we obviously can sell over. We sign up single member S Corps. That's what it's called all the time. If you hear, as far as a tax filing status, S corporation, that means they're required to have payroll. A lot of times that will be your one employee owner onlys. And a lot of times they're using what you said, like a QuickBooks offering. QuickBooks really is made for accountants, right? So number one, they don't have a run and done solution like ADP Wholesale will, where business owners, let's say a single member, can literally set what they want to pay themselves for the full year. and the process will automatically run for them every single month. So they don't have to remember to log in, to run their payroll, to pay their taxes. It'll do that automatically for them. As far as QuickBooks, really, truly, when you get over, honestly, I would say 2-3 employees, they really can't offer a lot of the services that ADP and Pay Compass will offer as far as compliance tips. Like truly, if you think about QuickBooks Payroll, think of it like a calculator. A lot of their platforms don't even do the tax filings. Some of them do, but it's really truly at the heart of it and core of it is really made for accounting software. And so they can keep it for their invoicing, and their general ledger will integrate with that. But when it comes to payroll, I always say, let the experts be experts. And that's not really one of the biggest strong suits, I'd say, once they get over a couple employees.
Great, thank you.
The other thing I would say as well is that on that front, and I don't want to speak of this as an overall, that this is for sure 100% the rule with every online accounting software, but for most of the larger online accounting softwares, just like Rachel said, that they're created for accountants. They're created for people that know what they're doing, and therefore there's no acceptance of liability by that. So I think sometimes people think like, okay, I'm using QuickBooks, it's doing all the math for me, it's handling everything for me, but it's actually just a tool for you to use for those that know how to make sure the tax filings are properly set up, that the taxes are being filed at the right time frame, that they're being correctly calculated in Minnesota as well as in Arizona as well as in Florida, and that you're covered and taken care of there. But reality, it's just a tool waiting for you to execute on those decisions. So using an actual payroll service like what we're talking about here helps take away, or at least, reduce, and sometimes, I don't want to say for sure, always take on all liability, but definitely ADP is putting in the hard yards to make sure those things are done correctly. Whereas those accounting softwares are just there as a tool for you to push the button and say, hey, do it this way, not necessarily telling you the right way to do it.
You know it. It's like a calculator.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is. Yeah, great ad.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When we were at OPC, that's an unusual word. Anyway, on the WOTC credits, we had a range of, if a guy was, due out of prison or came out of prison, there was X amount of dollars in a credit for him. Do we have anything that states that?
I can ask our tax credit team. I don't think I can double check. I don't want to tell you something that's completely wrong. I don't believe we have ranges for that. I think it's flat fees, but we follow whatever the government gives us as far as what that tax credit's like allowed. I've never heard of ranges for us.
Well, I didn't really mean ranges. I just, like a felon, there was X amount of tax credits.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. I'll get that information for you. I'm not sure on the felon. I know off the top of my head, like a veteran, at least back in 2019, when I was selling and not managing, the tax credit back was $7,500.
Right. And then also a underprivileged or lower economic area, there was tax credits for higher young people.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you could that'd be great, because that way we can go in and say, well, is your current company doing this for you?
Right.
What's that? And I got a lot when I started talking about WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's a great tool. I can get those figures for you. I can see if that's posted somewhere. And what's nice is we make the process super obviously anonymous, right? So we'll do this study for a company. It's an anonymous survey. Even if people have had family members on food stamps, come from lower economic circumstances, we'll give them tax credits. And then as we onboard those employees as well, we'll make that a part of their onboarding process to do those to do that survey. So the company can continue getting those tax credits, as they progress and add employees on. So I can definitely get that for you.
It's just an easier way for us to make more money on a monthly.
100%. And it's a win-win for the client too.
Thank you.
Yeah, great ad.
I guess I'm sorry if you covered this, but is it like a monthly thing that merchants would pay to have your services as well? Or is it like, what's the pricing look like?
So that's going to
Yeah, we'll
Yeah, go
share. We've got the pricing that it's all in a document. I think we'll be sending that out. We'll send it out after this call so you have it all refreshed in your memory. We don't like to share.
Perfect.
We don't like to share pricing on these calls because these get recorded and published, out there on YouTube. So, but we'll be sharing it internally here shortly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Rachel, it looks like we have one in the chat saying, what about a business that currently partners with ADP or currently uses ADP?
I've been waiting for that one to come up.
I knew that was too. And I got clarification. I know you guys can onboard them because it would be a Pay Compass client. So we can onboard them. As far as the reports, Justin, I'll have to work with you on that. If it's like a streamlined data situation, or if we have to pull reports separately.
Okay.
So that's more of a Pay Compass ADP wholesale question. But yes, if someone has ADP, you can onboard them for Pay Compass payroll. Great question.
So Rachel and Brandon are going to send us over a list so we can go target.
You know what? I'm telling you, if I could, and if I get the A-OK, I will. Great question. Anything else?
Yeah, one of the things that we'll get further clarification on as well, because it's still a little cloudy for me and Rachel, Brandon, maybe we can have a call here shortly on that, is all the tax credit parts. I want to make sure I believe, the ERTC credit and all the tax credits, I believe there's a huge opportunity in that for people to understand that better. I equate it on the credit card processing side to understanding interchange optimization and, level 2 and level 3. It's a little thing that really the merchant doesn't have to do any more of, but can be a huge benefit by selecting the right partner like us. So for us to understand that better, I think can be a huge opportunity that I'll guarantee, 90% of business owners are not taking advantage of. So it can be a big thing for us too. So we'll make sure we understand that deeper, and we'll share information, and then maybe even, in our call at the end of this month, we can dive deeper into that as well.
Yeah, we can have our tax credit partner actually come on. I think something I didn't add, Justin, that I think is really important. Obviously, when we do the tax credits, we want to earn their payroll business as well. But just so you guys know, if you have someone that's absolutely unwilling to move, we can work with clients that are with companies that are not payroll clients for tax credits as well. So you guys shouldn't ever have an opportunity lost because they don't want to move their payroll over. We can work with them still on the tax credit side, even without having Pay Compass payroll.
Speaking of that, the doc that you showed us that had the circles and a little circle, and it was talking about the retail tax credit and the WOTC credits and everything. Is that available to us? And would it be white labeled as Pay Compass?
I've got to, as far as the white label, good question. I don't believe the tax credit piece is going to be 100% white labeled just because some of the stuff is through like government. Let me see if I can go back.
That's it.
But how we can preface it is we're using Pay Compass's team and they're an extension of Pay Compass. And so we partner directly. I don't believe as far as 100% white labeled, the collateral I can give you guys will be white labeled. But as far as some of the documenting and the email they'll receive, it will have from ADP, but we'll make sure everyone from Pay Compass is CC'd on those. So it'll look like we're working it as a team.
Yeah, this one is a good doc, at least for me to be able to show people. So thank you.
Yeah. And I'll send this deck out to Justin and everyone that helped coordinate this call so they can send this over to you guys as well.
Yeah, Steve, we'll work. I mean, as we find out and we see what is available to us, that's true for everybody, not just you, Steve, but for everybody. As we see what's available to us and all the white labeled, marketing collateral, as we see any sort of gaps in there, obviously, Cam can then fill in the dots, on the rest of that. So we can work with Cam then to take some of this information and create some additional documentation.
Cool.
Hey, Rachel, do you mind going to slide 10?
Yep. And I've got to figure out which one, because on my end, it doesn't show anything. So let me do So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm getting there. 8, 9. Is this the one?
Next
Or
one.
this one? 10?
Yeah, this one. Yep. Thank you.
Of course.
Is that the one, or do you want something different, Alan?
Yeah, let me know. I don't, for some reason, it's not showing on my side what slide is which. Perfect.
That's it.
Any other questions out there?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
Everybody, I want to just hop in real quick and thank Rachel and Brandon on this. They've been working with us for a long time on this. You know, it's I'm not always easy to work with on product rollouts. I'd like to thank them for sticking with us through the process and me being a pain in the ass sometimes.
Stop.
I know how it goes. But I think this is something that we brought together, and it's a really strong partnership. And I think it's going to be something that's going to be huge for all of us as you learn more and more about it. Partnership opportunities are huge in this. No different than you do on credit card processing, referral partnerships. Many of you that have sold payroll before understand the power of these relationships with, you know, whether it be an accountant or anybody else that works with businesses. Just like you get referrals on the credit card processing side, it can be really huge on the payroll side as well. So I would definitely make sure you continue to learn more and more of this. And again, crawl, walk, run. We're learning together with you, but we're getting stronger and stronger and better every day. And we're off to the races. So whatever you got, bring it our way, and we'll work with the team over at ADP if we don't know to make sure you're supported.
Love it. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. If any other questions come up, Justin, just have them shoot me an email. Maybe we can put it all in one and we'll make sure that's answered. Thank you again for you guys' time.
That was great. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.